We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Xavien Howard, Miami Dolphins cornerback. Obviously, this past season was probably the worst season he's had since his rookie year, but I actually expect to see a big bounce back this next season in Vic Fangio's scheme for a few different reasons. I think coming out of that Flores type of scheme where they're playing man-to-man, cover one, cover zero a lot, this past season, basically running the same exact scheme, it puts him in one of the toughest positions in the NFL. Playing corner as it is already one of the toughest things to do in the entire NFL. And when you're just playing man-to-man with no help over the top constantly, it really is difficult. So I think he got a lot of, undeserved hate. Obviously, he still struggled, and I think, playing through injuries didn't help. But he's still, one of those guys who's one of the best ball hawks in the league at the cornerback position. He still will make some plays. And I think in Fangio, where he's running more zone, he can keep his eyes more on the quarterback. And, if you look at his stats, he's actually been a better zone corner throughout his career. It's something he's more used to. And I think, going on later in his career, switching to this type of system, he's going to be more successful. It'll be easier on him. And I think he won't have to worry as well, because when he was at his most successful, he had Byron Jones across from him. So he didn't have to be the superstar number one. But now with Jalen Ramsey, I just think the stars are basically aligning for X to, really have this bounce back season. I really not the greatest. It wasn't good. Don't get me wrong. He will even admit, he didn't play as well as he could have. And I think you'll see him really turn around when he playing cover 4, cover 3, cover 6, those types of things where he can, be a little more fluid, a little more loose. He always kind of did that in man-to-man sometimes too, where he would take a lot of risk, and he'll be able to do that a little bit more in zone to bait some throws and get some interceptions. In this play specifically, we got him out wide, deep third. They're just running cover 3 here, and he just does a great job maintaining leverage, getting over the top. They're trying to, throw this deep behind, and he gets flipped around, center field turn. You can see the ball skills, get that interception. He's always, obviously, I think he's got, the most interceptions since 2016 in the NFL. Absolutely insane in that area. I mean, this defense should create a bunch of turnovers. He's, reading, the play action through this, sees that there's going to be a deep drop, so he gets out of it, stays over the top. He has the outside leverage. He knows he has inside help based on this free safety, but Holland drives on the Dawson Knox corner out route right over there. So Howard has to maintain this, and he ends up getting flipped around because he tries to get hard back to the inside just after he sees Holland drive. Gets flipped around, but he just gets right back into position, doesn't panic at all. You can see the veteran moves out there, just way more comfortable in these zone coverages. Definitely something that, they still run man and match type techniques in Fangio's system. It's just, less common. And he just doesn't have to do it every play. But the next play I'm about to show you is why a reason I think, Howard got some undeserved hate this past season. So this play right here, Dolphins ran this so much over the past few seasons. Just the cover 0. And, Howard gets beat deep here, and people are going to, blame this on Howard watching this game live. It's going to be his fault. To me, this is the hardest thing to do in the NFL. Their cover 0 right here, you have all this space, one-on-one, with a top receiver in this league, and you're bringing 8. They only have 7 guys down here to block. You're bringing 8, and you have to get there quickly. They end up not getting there quickly. Josh Allen throws this back. You should not be able to get a 50-plus yard completion on a play where you're bringing 8 blitzers. Howard is supposed to be sitting here. This is his role, his job, his technique is to sit on the throws here, break on anything because they're expecting a quick throw because they're bringing 8 defenders, basically engage 8 out there, straight out of Madden, and they just chuck it deep. So, I mean, really, Howard was doing his exact job, almost ends up, getting back into position to make the play. But this is why it was so tough on him to play at a consistent level when you're constantly put into a position where it's very difficult for you, and those guys aren't getting to the quarterback right away because that's exactly what was schemed up, and it just didn't work out. So, I mean, that play is more on the front, just not getting there. 8 guys somehow getting blocked by 7 right away, and you just got to get to the quarterback much more quickly, and that's a 3rd and 15 situation, and just a bad play call as well. You should not be doing this on a 3rd and 15. He can still go out there, play man-to-man, he just wasn't as, strong this season, but it's not something I would be, too worried about. He does a great job of squeezing this route versus Garrett Wilson, who's a pretty good receiver. Just out on the edge, he's trying to get a press look, but they're tight here, so he's not going to get, perfectly pressed, but he does a good job staying square, footwork, bouncing to the outside. And once he sees him release out there, he opens up his hips, gets his hand into that upfield shoulder right there, which is actually where you want to be. And then he's just in great positioning here. He actually turns away from the receiver. Usually when you're in this upfield shoulder positioning like this, you usually turn into the receiver and play the ball back. But he turns his head around because he wants to make a play at the catch point. He does a great job getting his hands straight through right there. Really good job to finish. Just another area where he can still be that guy, cover top receivers. It's just not something I think you're going to see consistently anymore, and that's why I think the transition into Fangio's scheme is going to help him out so much. Xavien Howard right here, down in the flat. He's playing as like a cover 2 defender, but he does a really good job just carrying this down the field because nothing was threatening him down in the flat. Just running like stride for stride with that wide receiver. Pretty impressive rep right here. This is definitely something he's going to be asked to do with Fangio's system. He will, run cover 2, cover 6, so you'll be that cloud corner to certain sides. They have to like to see you sit on things. He can, come down, break things on the flat, and he's seeing this right away. He sees the only thing that's really, could threaten him here. He sees the number 2 is working on the seam. He's not really paying attention to that. The running back, it looks like he might come down to the flat, but he like angles it out towards the middle, so he just sees this, wants to carry this down. Great awareness. He's not even got hands on, but he's running stride for stride with that receiver. Makes a perfect play at the catch point. Just he almost comes away with the interception, but just reading Rodgers' eyes the whole way. He's just, I feel like, way more comfortable in zone. It's a lot easier on him. Doesn't ask as much of him, and he understands his roles, his responsibilities, and he can make pretty exceptional plays like this pretty consistently. So that's why I think we'll see that bounce back season from him. I think at this point in his career, I think he's just at his most comfortable playing in like cover 3, where he can just be on that deep third. He can match things like that, like playing like he might be most comfortable playing in like that Pete Carroll Seattle type system. And this is not something like Fangio runs all the time, but definitely enough to where you got to be able to do it. Just matching this on a vertical plane. He's really only threatened by the number 1, so Deebo Samuel. He's just reading this, holding his outside leverage, zone turning here. And once he understands what the Niners like to do. It's a very similar offense to what the Dolphins like to do. A lot of things breaking towards the middle of the field, and he sees that one-on-one with Samuel, and he likes to really bait his throws. Like, he's in good positioning here, and he loves to undercut and make those plays right at the catch point. Very comfortable here. He's probably at his best, one of the best corners still in the league at the catch point. He always will be. Those ball skills won't really go away. It's just, does he still have the top tier athleticism, to make those types of plays? But you can still tell he's a very smart player, just a lot more comfortable in these zone coverages, deep zones. Definitely something he's going to have to do a lot next year, and he hasn't really had a chance to do throughout his entire career. But when he has, he's done it at a very high level. So I think, you'll see that resurgence from Xavien Howard for sure this next season. This is a quality rep down here at the bottom of the screen versus Brandon Ayuk. It's a 4th and 4 situation, actually, and he gets the interception. He probably should have dropped this. It would have been better for, field position. He does a great job. He loves to, go for that interception. Like, you're one-on-one on an island. This is something he was asked to do a lot last season. Personally, I think Ayuk is a better receiver than Samuel, so I think he's going against their best receiver right here. Just like one-on-one. Ayuk's actually a very good route runner, and he does a great job just staying patient, not giving too much of his leverage right here, staying over the top, gets that inside hand, just, block him from working back to the inside, stays over the top, and usually in this positioning, you might be expecting back shoulder just where he is right here, so you turn into the receiver, but he loves to turn his head around, go for that interception. A lot of guys are not comfortable to do that, to take their head away from the wide receiver. He's definitely still amazing ball skills, finish on that play. Not easy to do, especially in a cover 1. You don't really have that much safety help. You have, the deep to the inside, but when you're on this vertical plane, it's basically a one-on-one. I mean, if they did throw it deep, Holland actually probably would have got there because he's a very good player. But Howard locks this down. He understood the situation. Obviously, it's a 4th and 4, and once he sees him release vertically, he expects him to, maybe get this ball thrown pretty quickly instead of later, so he gets that head around quickly and makes a play. Last play that we break down, we get Xavien Howard showing press pre-snap, Bill's out of it. Now he's in a cover 3 zone, and he is just so nuanced in these areas. That's why I'm just so excited to see him in this new system where he's going to be able to do this more on a consistent basis. And I just think last year, the injuries hindered him, especially early on. But just bailing out of here, maintaining this leverage, just reading this. He's reading through the receiver here. He sees this guy hit his drop, so he's expecting him to break here pretty soon. He's letting him work over the top. Sees him break towards the middle. He knows he has help over the top, so he just uses that newest. He almost like gets his hands on the hips of the receiver to like slingshot himself underneath to make that play at the catch point. Basically, he runs the route for the receiver, turns him into makes the receiver the DB. Just high level work. And just so much more advanced, I think, in zone coverage as he always really has been. He's just always been asked to play man-to-man, especially since Flores became the coach running cover 0, cover 1. And even the way they ran their cover 0s, it was almost like, a mix and match of, like, zone and man principles. So it was like, would play to his strengths. But I think that time is coming past for Xavien Howard, and then with Jalen Ramsey, Vic Fangio coming to this team, I think you'll see that nice resurgence play from him. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Just like it's